Old school clear view, build it by your own kit, basically. 5 horsepower dust collector is getting an overhaul. Sorry about the shadow. We gotta clean all this up, get all that dust off of there. And we're gonna silicone all along this area here. We're gonna probably do on the inside as well. This taping really actually works really amazing. This Dyna tape, Dynamat, whatever you want to call it, but for keeping everything sealed up. But basically there's plastic all the way around this chamber, and then the tape kind of goes on there to hold it in, but you can see it's got a bunch of dust building up, and seals probably aren't maybe as good as they can be, so we're going to go ahead and just get it all cleaned up, silicone it, nice airtight, put it back together, hang it back up, and we should hopefully eliminate most of our leaks. But yeah, man, that's a beast right there. Gets the job done. We're gonna go ahead and use a brush attachment to make sure we don't do any damage. Not gonna probably do any damage to it, even if I didn't, but it helps. Get in some of those nooks and crannies. Took the original or the excess layer of this sticky tape off so I can really get down in there. I may even remove this still, but the idea is to get this thing nice and cleaned up. I'm gonna come through, wipe down everything after vacuuming with water, towel dry, then alcohol wipes. Alcohol wipes will help dehydrate and get rid of any last little bit of moisture around. I'm going to make sure that I don't use excessive water. Just super, like, barely damp rag is all I'm using. But we're going to vacuum this guy up, and then we'll get into some of the other steps afterwards. And I've decided to take all of the original Dynamat off of there I had. That was just for extra insulation, as well as extra sealant. But as I started getting into vacuuming and cleaning it up, I noticed that I'm getting a lot of dust right around the seams, and that is evidence that we've got leaks, and I don't want leaks. And this stuff is super, super fine and really, really nasty. So this Dynamat stuff actually comes off pretty smoothly, but it is a little bit of a pain in the butt, and it does that all the time, which makes it kind of frustrating. So you almost have to really have 2 hands pulling at the exact same moment. And this again was just used for more of an insulator and like a final seal around all this area, but I can feel the play on my plastic shield. So I'm just going to strip this whole thing down back to its original plastic and MDF kit form. I'm going to take some putty knives, clear out any cracked or old silicone, and we're just going to revamp this whole bad boy, make it just kick ass again. All right, we got all that old Dynamat tape off. You can actually see why they used to call these things clear views now. All right, we are completely clear of all silicone, putties, old nasty stuff. Gonna now take my alcohol, wipe everything off, get it nice and clean, and then like I said, I'm just gonna silicone the hell out of this. Every nook and cranny. It's gonna get silicone nice and tight. Oh, I sort of regret taking the Dynamat off. I did do my silicone all the way around as discussed. Everywhere that there is a seam or a gap, you can see that fresh shiny silicone there. We siliconed everything, tightened up all the bolts all over the place, made sure everything's nice and snug, so then when it goes back up, it's ready to go. The Dynamat may or may not affect me for the sake of vibration and noise. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping the silicone basically removes all of the vibration between the plate and the walls. I may end up having to get some more of that stuff, and it's expensive is probably more the issue, and I shouldn't be cheap, but you know, budgets are important in wood shops. This is a actually pretty budget friendly but still quality product I found for the insulating of the unit as well as helping with seals. And it's just a foam tape used in car and audio production, similar to Dynamat, but again, a little bit more budget friendly. We put this about 3-layer stick around all the main clear view plastic, and then about 1 layer on all of the MDF. Our goal here is to help with sound deadening. And then I also butyl taped all the seams as well. So between the silicone and this tape, we should be eliminating the majority of our vibration and sound resonance within this plenum. We'll hope it works, but regardless, 5 horsepower dust collectors are loud. So any steps we can make to minimize the noise, we're going to. This was a kind of a fun little project to wrap this thing. However, that being said, it's also time consuming, especially when you're doing multiple layers. It is pretty form-fitting, which is also nice. All right, so in the process of revamping the dust collection system, there are these seals inside the clamps for the rim style or quick fit dust collection. You can see here, this is a Nordfab, and this is their nitrile. It's just a simple black weather stripping and foam. This stuff is a pain in the ass. The clamps seem to be a 6 1/2 dozen the other. I do like the way that the US ducts operate a little bit better than the Nordfabs. Regardless, what I did discover is that you end up needing to do 2 layers thick of the replacement nitrile foam. Well, in the refurbishing of my dust collection, I noticed that my Clearview Cyclone, the PTFE, has failed. You can hear that. That's a crack right down in there. And I can seal that up, tape it, and, use a real nice epoxy and probably keep using this Clearview. And I may do that, but I am leaning toward putting this bad boy on there instead. It's got a much larger output. We've got an 8-inch output over here instead of the 6 on the Clearview. The inlet on the Clearview is only 6. The inlet on the Oneida is 7. And then the imports on both of these are different as well. The Cyclone does operate differently. The Clearview Cyclone operates differently. It's actually got that ramp system in there to help kind of spiral down and move the stuff, keep it moving downward. Whereas the Oneida does not have anything. The Oneida just dumps a bunch of stuff in there and you hope it falls out. The diameter on that Oneida is larger, hence once it mounts to the underside of this guy, this also is part of the Clearview system. This is going to go away and I'm going to get a different mounting there. That's going to potentially slow some airflow because it's going to be 1 inch smaller in the opening, going from a 9 to an 8, which I don't know how that's going to affect me or not. But you just got to try stuff, and if you fail, you fail. So this is going to be basically suspended, and I can't hang all this weight just by a couple sheet metal screws. That's not going to do us any good. Sheet metal screws and tape, that's not enough. So we're building this bracket to go underneath this ring all the way around the unit, and we're going to build 2 pieces, 1/2 for one side, 1/2 for the other side, and then that'll be able to support underneath. My main unit is hung, no problem on this big crazy thing up on the ceiling. It's this big gnarly unit of 2x4s and plywoods with like the biggest lag screws into the studs you've ever seen in your life, because it's got to hold a ton of weight. We're going to be holding this big 5 horsepower Leeson motor. I'm going to build out this bracket and then we'll get to mounting this sucker.